This is Rusty Cooley, often called the fastest guitarist alive. At tempos beyond 230 beats per minute, with technique cleaner than MIDI. He didn't just play shred, he redesigned it from the ground up. Today, I'm diving into his story, his insane technique, and why to this day, I don't think anyone has pushed shred further than he has. This is Shred Legends, Rusty Cooley. Rusty Cooley was born in Houston, Texas, and grew up in a motocross family. He was racing dirt bikes from the time he was 5. He didn't even touch a guitar until he turned 15, when his parents gave him a PV T27 and a little PV Decade amp. Up to that point, it was just tennis rackets and Iron Maiden records. But that birthday changed everything. Once he picked up the guitar, he was completely self-taught, locked in for hours and hours every single day, sometimes over 10 hours daily, which is just crazy. He went from beginner to terrifying in just a few years, obsessively pushing himself with a work ethic that's almost uncomfortable to think about. In the mid-90s, Rusty made a big move. He switched to a 7-string guitar. But this wasn't just about going lower. He used that extra string to build ridiculous modal shapes, complex arpeggios, and sweeping melodic runs that spanned the entire neck. He wasn't just mimicking shredders of the past, he was innovating, pushing into a hyper-technical, hyper-fast style that very few people could even process at that time. And something that made him stand out to me, aside from the extraordinary playing, was how he got that playing out there. Rusty was one of the first players I ever saw using YouTube and forums to actively promote shred guitar. He'd post these short clips of just pure terrifying virtuosity.
Bet you can't play this.
No filler, no fluff, just a guy obliterating his fretboard in a dimly lit room with a fan blowing his hair in beautiful ways. Before Instagram Reels or TikTok licks, he was already showing us how to weaponize short-form guitar videos. And honestly, almost no one has done it better since.
Got a pretty cool rhythm sound, it's got a good lead tone.
So let's break down some of Rusty Cooley's technique to try to get you to play a bit more like Rusty Cooley. Now, it's fairly obvious that Rusty Cooley's main superpower is his insane speed and finesse, and you can't get that overnight. But something to consider is that at some point in Rusty Cooley's guitar career, he said it and just started playing as fast as he possibly could and never looked back from there. And that's something that you should do too. So if playing fast is something that you struggle to do, at some point you have to throw caution to the wind and start practicing fast. Even if you're sloppy, you will clean up in real time. And I can tell that at some point Rusty did this and never looked back. Now, I've written these 3 passages that I feel embody some of what Rusty Cooley does. Now, having said that, if you want to learn how to play more like Rusty Cooley, you should simply go to the man himself. He's a very prolific teacher and has tons of content out there. That being said, here are these 3 licks. This first one is a really interesting cascading 4-string arpeggio sequence that I see him doing all the time. It's very clever stuff and it's very interesting, but the main thing about it, like everything else he does, it is balls to the wall fast. Let's take a look at it. Now this next passage is meant to embody a bit of how Rusty Cooley speed picks, and like everything else, again, it's balls to the wall fast. Now Rusty Cooley seems to mostly be a forearm picker, which means there's not a ton of wrist motion when he picks. It's mostly forearm going up and down like so. That does not mean that you should necessarily change the way that you pick if you're already a comfortable and confident alternate picker, but it is something to keep in mind. And this last passage is a basic sweep pattern that you see him do all the time, and while it does seem fairly simplistic on paper and in tablature, like everything else he does, it is blazing, blisteringly fast and confidently played. Let's check that out too. I hope those licks did Rusty Cooley some justice, and if you want to play more like Rusty Cooley, you have to develop the confidence to say F it and start playing faster, even if you're sloppy. It's not like Rusty Cooley never makes mistakes. Of course he does. When you're playing that many notes that fast, you're bound to mess up here and there. But he has so much confidence when he plays that those few little mistakes are severely outnumbered by the thousands of accurate notes he hits.
Rusty Cooley was and still is a benchmark for technical shred guitar, and he did it on his own terms. No label pushing him, no radio single, just unrelenting commitment to mastery and a deep desire to share what he learned. Let me know in the comments, what part of Rusty's playing hits you hardest? Is it the speed, the precision, the confidence? I want to give a big shout out to Rusty Cooley himself for inspiring me as a kid to practice as hard as I could for as long as I could. And please, if you're not already, go follow Rusty on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and wherever else applicable. If you like this kind of video, please let me know in the comments and tell me who I should do next.
Hey, this is Rusty Cooley, and I'm in the studio today recording some solos for the new Austrian Death Machine CD, and I'm here with Arnold himself. He's in character. What do you got to say, Arnold?
I'll be back.
Okay, I think Arnold's got to go take a dump.
Hasta la vista.
So he'll be back in a minute.